Hey, in just a couple weeks, this table is going to be full of people. It's not going to be your gamer friends, though. It's going to be like your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents, your father, your mother, brothers, cousins, because it's the holidays. You know what they say about you.
You always got board games with you, don't you?
What board games did you bring for us this time?
And you want to play games with them, but they're not gamers. So let's figure out a way to get them to play some games. You know what? Come closer. You need to compare your interest of board games to what their interests are. For example, you might have an uncle that's really into building cars and fixing engines, but if he were introducing that to you, you wouldn't just jump in and start rebuilding a transmission. You'd probably start with an oil change. This is kind of like that with board gaming. You're not going to want to throw them into the deep end. You need to start off with something that has really simple rules and it's really easy to play and maybe not too intimidating when you open the box. Let's go see some. So while we're on our way to the board game room, you're gonna wanna pick something that maybe matches the theme. It's a holiday, there's plenty of holiday games out there. Not enough in my opinion, there should be a lot more. But maybe something about food, people like food, you're gathering to eat food. Maybe something about gift giving, which there are some games about that. But let's see if we could find something that kind of matches that. Leaf is a new favorite that kind of fits the bill. It's about the changing leaves in the fall. Kind of matches the theme. And then we have Century Spice Road, which is just about trading spices. You know what? None of this is easy though. It needs to be simpler. To gamers like us, games like that are easy. But to other people, they're kind of complicated and even confusing. So let's introduce some games that can be explained in about 30 seconds. Maybe something similar to even a deck of cards. Something they've seen before. Skull is a bluffing game where you want to be the last person at the table with any coasters left. You only have two choices, put a coaster down or start placing bets. Ink and Gold is a push your luck game where you want to have the most points over 5 rounds. You only have two choices though, stay in the cave or leave. Lucky Numbers is a game where you want to be first to fill your garden. All you do is draw a number and you place it in your garden. Having just two options is something most people can get their head around. Option A, option B. True, false. And there's something else about these games that's a pretty important factor. It's time. I really didn't need to shoot that. Time is important because your family can only sit at the table for so long, but let's get them into gaming because there's lots of games that fit that short time span, such as anything from Gamewright. Gamewright makes a lot of games that fit your wheelhouse for a short time. And then there's stuff from AEG and Flat Out Games like Point Salad. That's also a great game that only takes about 30 minutes to play, which might even be on the high end. But then there's classics like Say Anything that play up to 8 players and you get to learn a lot about your family members, maybe that you didn't know before. Then there's that final factor, a familiar game. In these boxes, we have all of our smaller form games, but something that always makes its way into these are trick takers. So if you have a family that's into something like a spades, there's lots of games that are trick-taking games that may warm them up to the idea to maybe playing something a little more tricky. So leave the complicated games at home, even if they seem easy to you, because they're not going to be easy to a non-gamer. Sure, you can explain the game probably to perfection, but if it's not a two-choice game that takes about 20 minutes, I doubt it's going to make it to the table at all. So soon, this table is going to be full of your family members. Let's talk about what games you're going to bring to the table in the comments below. Hopefully you learned some. Hopefully you got a nice frame of mind of what you're going to bring now. But until next time, the box is closed.